everybody, and welcome to the continuation of our class. We have discussed a few things already about art, and we have had a few introductions about its nature and the characteristics. Although we are not yet done, today we will finish that discussion and then we will move on into the next. So I hope you will bear with me in the next few minutes. Good day, everyone, and again, this is the continuation of our previous discussion. But let us just have a little tour of what we have had last time. So, last time we discussed about what is art and then we defined it. There are various definitions of what it is and how people get to have the enjoyment of forms of the arts. And we also discussed about the nature of art, that it is everywhere, it is expression and communication, it is creation, it involves experience, it is beauty, and therefore it is not nature because art is man made, therefore nature is God made. Now, we also discussed about the concepts of beauty, that beauty is relative and it changes as time passes. And of course, it has to be considered that beauty varies across cultures. Also, we discuss about various assumptions of the art, specifically the philosophical perspectives. We got to understand Plato's point of view about the art, that it is an imitation or a representation of the reality, which is also supported by Aristotle. And we also get to discuss that art, for art's sake, as stated by Kant, is not just, it must not be judged by, it has to be judged by its own merit, in its own inner beauty, and it has to be detached from other external purposes, whether it's political or it's moral. No? And also we got to discover that, and we got to know that art helps or functions as an escape. Now, while Plato and Aristotle espouse that art must reflect reality, some consider the real world with its daily struggles as tedious and suffocating sometimes. Art provides a healthy distraction for people to break free temporarily from routine. So last time, I remember mentioning this, that we know that sciences is really important in the survival of human life. But deep inside, we know the value of the arts, because if science makes us survive life, it's the art that helps us live life. That is the importance of the arts. In this pandemic, I know that you have noticed that the sciences has taken a step forward and those in the arts have taken a full step backward, because science needs to find the cure for the ongoing pandemic. But what have you noticed when the arts had to take a back step and it is not working side by side or alongside sciences? What have you noticed? A lot of people lost their, you know, sanity, and most got so stressed. A lot of people got so depressed with what's going on because they cannot see happiness. They cannot do the things that they usually do, and they cannot see colorful things and all this artistic artistic views that are giving them this happiness, because again wala nga masyadong existence of the art. And that would be the world be like if, if art does not exist. Now, art the constraints of social conventions, time, and other encampments may cause a lot of pressure and anxiety, which, when kept within, will develop into disastrous emotions such as frustration, anger, and depression. This is what I'm saying. Art provides a healthy diversion from pressing realities, enabling people to take a break and maintain a balanced perspective of the real world. Kaya nga when you go into the real world, like when you are in Makati or when you go to the business world, all these people are, working 24/7. They are so stressed. That's why one of their escapes would go to the theater, would go to cinemas, would just have to enjoy the art forms because that's one way that they can escape you know, all this confusion, depression, stresses, and anger, and would help maintain balance in life. Okay. So art as functional element. In the previous class, I guess I've mentioned this. So, but I will review it anyway. So functions of art can be non-motivated or motivated. So what do you mean by non-motivated purposes? So a non-motivated purposes of art refers to innate, unconscious, artistic instincts, while motivated functions refer to the conscious intentions of the artist in an art production. So, again, it refers to innate. In short, it's a personal expression. There's no patronage. There are no other external elements that are hindering or influencing your work of art. It's just your own instinct. It's innate and it's unconscious. You just felt like you have to paint or you have to create an art form. But a motivated function is it is conscious on its intention, no, to create a production or to create art. Like for example, the person is told you have to create a musical because uh, we need to come up with a production this year or else our company will go bankrupt. So there's that motivation, there's that external motivation that pushes you to come up with an art form. While the non motivated is usually intrinsic, that's within you. Okay, so non-motivated functions, there are considerations they have to put in, the appreciation for harmony, balance, rhythm. Now, it is human nature to appreciate harmony, balance, and rhythm, and such instinct enables people to create art, an ability animals do not have. Poetry, music, and the visual arts are just among the means artists reflect their love for beauty. Now, another function is to experience the mysterious. Science fiction and science fiction and spy shows are just among those artworks that satisfy people's thirst for something mysterious. So even a painting requires a little mystery, some vagueness, and some fantasy. So if you would see a work, it does not have to reveal its full self to you. A good work would have to be implied, or its message has to be uncovered before it is before at the first mere look of a work, there are things um, that are behind it. Another expression of the imagination. While the real world is characterized by constraints, imagination knows no bounds. As what Albert Einstein observes, logic will get you from point A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Logic will get you from point A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Now, if you look at this example, this is by Van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh's painting, The Starry Night, depicts the artist's creativity. While colors are usually visible during daytime, the artist contemplating on the belief that people journey to a star after their death. This portrays a night scene where stars appear in bursts of yellow against blue-black sky. So, look at this. This is an expression of imagination because look, you would never think that the sky would look like this. It would shape it because it does not naturally look that way. But in the eyes, or in the eyes of through the imagination of Van Gogh, he created it differently. Okay, to create this representation of the reality he has in his head. Now, another non motivated function is the ritualistic and symbolic function. Examples would be architecture, sculpture, theatrical performance, and dance, and because these are in rituals and some objects hold religious symbolisms for some. Now, certain architectural forms, for instance, are associated with some religious groups and serve spiritual or ritual purposes. Like when you go to a shrine, you would see the statue. What is the purpose? It's for religious or ritualistic purposes because it serves something that is spiritual. Okay, now the figure on the top right shows the famous Itsukushima Torii, which was appealed to for protection of travelers and business success. While the other figure shows, this one here, this shows the street dancers during the famous Sinulog religious dance ritual for the repose of souls done after the Catholic Santo Niño festival in Cebu. Now, this time, let's go to the motivated functions. Art as an entertainment. This time now, there is already an external control or external factor that contributes to the creation of such art form. Examples would be videos, movies, video games, theater, television shows, humorous memes, and live music intend to provide pleasure and delight, a break from the tediousness of daily work. So this one, no, this is a meme. By the way, why is a meme considered a part of art as entertainment? Because in this generation, what have you noticed when you scan through Facebook, when you scan through social media, everybody gets through every now and then gets to see a meme, and in most cases, memes would actually entertain, give you this kind of laughter. So definitely, it is an art form because it is man-made, and it is an art form for entertainment purposes. Okay, another purpose or another motivated function that is for political change and social inquiry. A very good example about this is Noli Metangere. What Rizal made is a work of art that helped change the political system and the social consciousness of many people because of his work. Now, art does not only delight, but as what later espoused, it must bring social consciousness and moral transformation. Rizal's novels castigated the abusive administration during his time and aroused Filipinos' consciousness about what was going on around them. Now, this example, because a while ago, it's of course this is political change or social inquiry. So another example would be for a political meme. You can see it right here. You see a lot of this in your Facebook, Instagram, or wherever. Now, political internet memes, while basically humorous, many are meant to attack human frailties and social ills. So, you would see here that memes is a form of an art form that would either build or destroy politician's a politician's career because it has become part of the political strategies right now, this evolving type of advertising, or yes, advertising, political advertising through memes and through social media. Now, another motivated function, art as therapy, acknowledging that art is a form of self-expression and a means to release pent-up emotions. Psychologists or psychotherapists use art to assess psychological and emotional conditions of patients. Activities like drawing, coloring, painting, doodling, and sculpting are among the art forms that which serve therapeutic purposes for those who suffered from intense emotions associated with illness. So, art could function as a therapy. Didn't you know that there are specific psychiatrists or psychologists that would be, that would actually have this high regard on art forms. di ba? I remember there was one time when Undoy hit Cagayan de Oro City. Um, a lot of people were killed with that flash flood, and in fact, it was too traumatic that people were wondering how lives could get back to normal after that traumatic event. And there were a lot of NGOs or non-government organizations that helped out these traumatized areas to get back into life. And one program at that is they help children get over the trauma through art. Yung pinagawa nila is they ask the kids to draw about how they felt or what they felt at the time when their houses were being washed away by the flood. And it was this way of art form is a way of therapy. It is helping the kids to share exactly how they looked at the situation and somehow a release for them for the for the unspoken um, tragedy or unspoken fear that they have that have actually consumed them. So in a lot of ways, art is functions as therapy. Also, it could, like in Manila, in national in St. Paul's University. There is this school. There is this degree in their master's program, Master of Arts in Music, for students with special needs. So definitely, music is another factor that could help a lot of people, into getting back into their normal sense because it is an art form that could give therapy. I hope I could discuss more of that when we go to the next part in music later on. Okay, so the Norwegian painter Edvard Munch, for instance, was diagnosed with neo what's this neurasthenia, a clinical condition associated with hysteria and hypochondria. His mental condition is reflected in this is his famous work. No, this is the Scream, where he uses rough strokes and morbid colors and depicts figures suggesting despair and anguish. So he created an artwork of what he felt because remember he was diagnosed with a sickness, neurasthenia. It's a clinical condition because nobody knew that he was going through hysteria and nobody really understood the pain or the discomforts he is feeling with his condition. So basically, he got to draw how he felt, and here he is. This is very symbolic because look at him. He's so confused, and then he is at the bridge. He's maybe there are interpretations that he's so confused, and maybe to the point that he would be jumping off that bridge. A lot of people have been interpreting it that way. Now, on the other hand, art expressions are found to be linked to healing and greater wellness. Yes, because art could either make or break a person. Muna, di ba, na when you do not know, but there's this unspoken or yes, unspoken effect of the art, especially music, with the human psyche. Then you know that there have been studies about music affecting how you think, affecting your consciousness, affecting your emotions. Diba, if you would notice, napansin niyo when hindi lang ito in visual arts, I'm also talking about music because it's an important art form. It's, yeah, like everything else, it's an important art form. If you would notice, kapag diba naa ka sa bus and then you listen to a song, you listen to a love song, and then all of a sudden you started crying, naghilak ka pero nganong naghilak man ko. Ka-remember din ka nga wa mo day kay uyab nganong gahilak man ka. Well, there is that certain effect. Music has that certain effect on a human, on a man's behavior or a man's psyche, so as with the other arts. So critical care patients who took part in visual and performing art interventions, for instance, had reduced time for hospital stays and decreased narcotic pain medication. So there is that improvement, when art was included in the treatment. So art as persuasion. Art for propaganda and commercialism influence people's perception about a particular idea or object. While art imitates reality, propaganda art constructs reality itself. Now, Merriam Webster defined propaganda as an idea or statement that is or that are often false or exaggerated and that are spread in order to help a cause, a political leader, a government, etc. It seeks to influence popular conceptions or mood. To illustrate, Moros or Filipino Muslims were among those who resist colonization. So in the painting, American soldiers are portrayed as heroes fighting against strange and savage people. So tinawag nilang savage ang Moros. Now, this is art as persuasion. So they, art form is being used to manipulate the mindset of its viewers in accordance to their liking. Didn't you know that? Take, for example, commercial advertisements. Now, commercial advertisements seek to influence consumers' perception of a product. It would actually convince you to like it. Ay, magsigigitag ko after every meal, dapat we have to drink Coke kasi we have to share open happiness. But the reality about that is, when you consider the health factors, Coke or sodas are very unhealthy because of their sugar content. Yet we are taught to, to believe that it is good because that's what advertisements are for. Now, we have here an activity. If your class, I have to check my Google Classroom as to which class has answered this or not. I need you to answer this activity and then we will create a stream for your submission of this one. Okay? So I need you to listen. You will only answer this if your class has not taken this activity yet. Alright. Now let me end it here before I continue to the next part of our discussion.